technical stuff about note names or intervals. Even though that stuff's important, just going to stick to really thinking about the scales as shapes primarily for today. So I got 5 to 8 on the low E. And then I have 5, 7, 5th to the 7th fret across the next 3 strings. So on A, 5, 7, D string 5, 7, G 5, 7. All right, so far, right, I've got 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7. And then the last 2 strings, as you're probably aware, 5, 8 as well. So that whole thing together. And then the descent reverse. So we're going to think about this as like our gym almost, you know. And the way, one way to think about sequences is kind of like, think of the scale, right? It's like raw material. It's like the alphabet. It's like saying A, B, C, D, F, G. It's just, there's really nothing, there's no information there. So it's like kind of our job, or role rather, to take those, the scale and try to form phrases or musical, or certain musical things with them, not just, you know, like forming words from the letters. So a scale sequence, right? Like I said, it just involves a repeating pattern that moves across different points of the scale. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get going with a 4-note sequence, right? So you want to think about every note in your sequence as having like a numerical place, right? So the first note is 1, obviously, right? Second note is 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. So what this sequence is going to do, it's going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, pretty simple. I'm just playing the first 4 notes of the scale as they are. I'm not doing anything to them. No vibrato, no hammer-ons, no pull-offs, none of that stuff. Not yet, anyway. All right, so then what we're going to do is just do the exact same thing, but starting at the second note of the scale. So that would give us 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so now I've just taken like my raw data, right? Just the raw scale, and I already have like a musical phrase happening. So it's already a little bit musical. There's already a melody there. So now what I'm going, and the way you want to do that, right? Let me just take a brief moment here to talk about maybe some of the technique you want to think about. Because I found like so much of like good guitar playing is based on like your mechanics, you know, like how your hands are positioned. And so with your right hand, one thing that helps a lot with trying to develop your technique, because that's primarily how we're going to think about the sequences today, is like developing your chops, your technique, like your coordination, and like your scale knowledge, you know. So I want you guys to experiment with this, right? If you've never done alternate picking, right, that's what you want to use. And it doesn't mean you're going to be able to do it right away. You know, right now you might just want to absorb some information and then chill on it for a little bit. And then on your own time, try to work these concepts out. So what it involves, right? Alternate picking is starting, I'm going to start with a downstroke, right? And I've got a pretty nice grip on my pick. Like if I try to move it with my fret hand, my left hand, like it's not going to budge. It's not going to move. So there's a grip on there, right? In between these two, your thumb and your index finger, that's like a clamp, right? So what it's going to do, it produces like a more, so if I just have a light grip, right? It's like a whisper. It's like kind of, it's kind of low. It's not very articulated. So, but if I put my grip on, and immediately it's like I'm projecting, right? So you want to try to retain that as you're moving through these, I don't want to use the word exercise, but let's just say like, they're exercises that are going to get turned into licks and pieces of music pretty soon. So we're going to keep a grip on the pick, and also make sure that your pick, you know, you don't want it to dip into the strings. You know, you want to try to keep it, I don't know how well you guys can see this, but just along the surface, right? You don't want the tip of your pick to dip inside the strings, because it's like you're gonna trip, you know. So it's like, visualize like the way like a stone kind of skips over water. You know what I'm saying? Like it never goes under. It's like it keeps like a nice fluid surface thing. So that's the way to think about the tip of your pick, right? So this whole sequence, right, that's going to give me the right hand picking pattern of down, up, right? That's all I did. And I applied that to the first 4 notes of the scale.